everybody. My name is Lady Breon. Again, I am the Executive Director with the Black Arts District, and I'm super excited that y'all have joined us for day 2 of the Black Artist Fair, powered by Comcast. I hope that you are enjoying yourself. I hope that you have tuned into our workshops and our panels that we've had so far. But right now, we are about to get into our keynote conversation with none other than Amanda Seales. Before we do that, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of our sponsors, which include collectively Do More Baltimore and BCAN. But I can't forget Comcast, which absolutely has powered this event. So I want to bring up a representative from Comcast, Peter Ickeltoon, who is a field sales manager, with Comcast Business. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, and good morning, Black Arts District. Thank you so much for your hard work in organizing this virtual event together. My name is Peter with Comcast Business, and I'm here to speak to the artist, the entertainer, the curator, the maker, the cultural worker, and the creative genius that's inside each and every one of you. Many of you have both the drive and the desire to take creativity into productivity. I mean business. I've helped several artists and creatives with guidance in providing telecommunication services to their own small studio space in the Eastern Avenue area. With Comcast, we provide all things internet, fiber, phones, surveillance, wireless, video, security, backup systems, advertising, and so much more. We can service the smallest business all the way up to the large enterprise businesses. What I love is that we can grow with you. Comcast also understands how this pandemic devastated many businesses, and we're committed to helping see businesses rise and communities rise and thrive again. In October 2020, Comcast Rise, which stands for Representation, Investment, Strength, and Empowerment, was launched to help strengthen and empower Black, Indigenous, and people of color-owned small businesses, many of which were hit hard by the pandemic. We help get them back up and running to rebuild back into the marketplace, both nationwide and right here in Baltimore City. There's actually been a total of 101 total Rise winners in Maryland, and 18 of them were right here in Baltimore City. We care about our city and we love our community. Additional community programs that we have are Lift Zones and Internet Essentials. We also have several Xfinity stores in the Baltimore area in White Marsh, Rotunda, Owings Mills, and one coming soon in Canton. My team services the greater Baltimore area, including Washington, D.C. We're relational and will be your point of contact for all the network and telecommunications needs for your business, whether it's home-based, commercial, or retail. So feel free to call me. My contact information is below. Black Arts District and all on this call. It's time to take your creativity and make it productivity and revenue generating for you. The time is now to see your visions come to life. Thanks again and enjoy today's keynote presentation.
Let's try that again. Thank you so much, Peter, for those remarks. And thank you to Comcast for your support of the Black Artist Fair. All right, and I will see you. Have a great day. All right, y'all. Now it is time to get into our featured performances. I'm super excited. The first performance that we're going to have is from the amazing, talented, and brilliant songstress and instrumentalist Black Assets. So y'all, do me a favor, clap from wherever you are and give it up for Black Assets, y'all.
Peace, y'all. My name is Black Assets. You're gonna be rocking with me and my brothers. The first song I'm about to do, it's called Why, and it is my letter to America from the perspective of a Black woman. Said why'd I trust you this time? I just don't know why you're my kryptonite. Said why'd I trust you this time? I just don't know why you're my kryptonite. Yeah. Said silly on me, yeah. Nah. Said I believe your lies. Said oh, silly on me, yeah. Said I fall for you every time. Silly on me, yeah, to believe your lies. Said oh, silly on me. Said I fall for you every time. But Lord, now why'd I trust you this time? I just don't know why you're my kryptonite. Yeah, said why'd I trust you this time? I just don't know why you're my kryptonite. So baby, you dance on, say now. You dance on a fine line, say, between loving me now then lying in my eyes. Say, baby, you dance on, say now, yeah, you dance on fine line. Good life is when love been lying in my eyes. Yeah, now I said, why'd I trust you? Time, I just don't know why you're my kryptonite. Yeah, no. Good Lord said, why'd I trust you? Time, I just don't know why. Good Lord, why you're my kryptonite. Said I will never, ever, no never. Said I will never, ever, no never. Said I will never, ever, no never fall again. why'd I trust you this time? I just don't know why you're my kryptonite. Say no, why I trust you this time. Said I just don't know why you're my kryptonite. This next piece I'm about to do, it's called Being Black. It's a melanin celebrated, appreciated, loved. You know, because the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, baby. And sometimes you got to let them know that. So again, my brothers, my family is going to help me sing this song. Play this. Sometimes we gotta remind them how powerful our skin is. Gotta say it loud, say it proud. And that's what this song is about. And I simply say that I love it, yeah, or I love it, yeah, or I love it, yeah, or I love it, being black, being black, being black, said being black, being black, I love it, I love it, yeah, oh, I love it, yeah, oh, I love it, yeah, oh, I love my skin. I love this melanin. Said it's the skin I'm in, and I love it. Said I love it. Now, color of my skin. Now, love that melanin. Said it's the skin I'm in, and I love it. Said I love it. We be the ones, chosen ones, moon and the sun, given the gift of reason from the one, the only one. Said we are the ones, love on your sons and on your daughters. Said we are the chosen ones. We are the ones. See, being black is like this super force that you only have if you have it, and it's unattainable to those who don't. It's a secret understanding. It's a superpower. It's strength, resilience, beauty, courage, love, light, and peace. And said it's love, light, and peace. Said that it's love, life, and peace. Say that it's love, life, and peace. Say, and I love how we be. I love it, yeah, oh, I love it, yeah, oh, I love it, yeah, oh, I love that on my being black. Good Lord said now, being black. Good Lord said now, being black. Yeah. Said being black. Being black. I love it now. I love it, yeah. Oh, I love it now. I love it, yeah. Oh, I love. Said I love. Said I. The black little berry, sweet of the juice. Black little berry, sweet of the juice. Black little berry, sweet of the. Good Lord, the sweet of the. Good Lord, the sweet of the. Good Lord, the black little berry, the sweet of the. Good Lord, the black little berry, the sweet of the. Good Lord, the black little, the sweet of the. Hey, good Lord, that I love it, yeah. I love it, yeah. Oh, I love it, yeah. Oh, I love it, yeah. Oh, I love. Said I love it, yeah. Oh, I love it, yeah. Said I love. Said I love being black. Ooh, being black. Ooh, being black. Ooh, being black. Said I love. Let it die, do. Let it die, do. Let it die, do. I let it die. I said I let it die, do. I let it die. Last time, give it to him one time. I said I love. Good Lord, let it die, do. Good Lord, let it My name is Black Assets, and I love it. Playing with my brothers. Said I love it. That Indigo Ultra. Said I love it. Said wherever you are, you need to celebrate melanin, appreciate our blackness, uplift our blackness, put us in the spaces that we need to be. And again, I thank y'all for vibing with me. My name is Black Assets. You can follow me everywhere. Venmo, Cash App, Spotify, SoundCloud, at Black Assets. Thank you again.
Just kidding. Thank you so much, Black Assets. Again, that was such an amazing performance. I'm so grateful for your amazing artistry and your contributions to Baltimore City. What a better way to get this keynote started than a song celebrating our Blackness. Do y'all love y'all Blackness? Like, was y'all feeling that? I was vibing all up in my spirit with that song. It was so touching. And I think that first song, Why, that letter to America from a Black woman, as a Black woman, poet, creative, it absolutely just resonated with me. And during times when there's so much happening in the world, so much as it relates to conversations around racial justice, police brutality, and all the other things that I think serves as an oppressive force to Black people all across this nation, I just appreciate you grounding us and you starting us with that vibe in that space. I just can't say enough how much I'm appreciative of your work. And thank you for putting us in the right space on today. All right, for those of you who are just joining us, you were listening to Black Assets, amazing performer right here in Baltimore City. We are about to move into our keynote, but before we do, we have another feature performance by none other than the amazing, talented, lyrical Mike Evenn. So they are sanitizing the mics, switching the set so that he can get started. Thank y'all for joining us. I'm Lady Breon, Executive Director with the Black Arts District, and you are tuned in to the Black Artist Fair. Thank you for your support, and we're going to get this thing going. So let's cue up Mike Evenn.
Know you sick and tired of different days and the same shit. Why you trying to hide like you forgot where my place is? I've been trying to find a part named crime to escape with. Driving past the cop right at the cop and some great shit. I done got so high, I asked my guy what it's laced with. You should skip your job so we can grind on a day shift. Once you get outside, just hop inside of my spaceship. Feel a basic. She like, what you want to hear? I say I don't know. Luther Vandross or maybe Loso. She say future mask off. I said I hope so. Who know when shit'll be back to normal? Till then I told myself to stop thinking your ass immortal in my city. They don't play, so don't say I ain't tried to warn you. I'm from better, keep it cordial, my nigga. Or keep it on, you got the same niggas around from the jump. We kept it cordial, can't nobody block a blessing. It's yours if it's really for you. I got money on my line, got a diva in my place, and the spirit is divine. She want that comment, y'all may wait. I don't like dragging my balls, even though I know I'm great. I be trying to leave my ego out the way. Dre saying the best rapper alive, and I can't accept it. Jay say you the best nigga standing, I stand corrected. Some of their ego is so bold, I just can't neglect it. How you hear that big with a brain that's so anorexic? Baby, I'm over being a man, now I'm manifesting. First I was only raised in the barber shit, now I'm flexing. The outfit dripping like it's been sitting there antiseptic. Too clean with it, I've been the boy since the adolescent. Hop on the live when they want some rhymes, I'm like, there they desperate. Dropping that dope with them every week, they gon' have to stretch it. Bodies keep dropping inside my city, that's depressing. You got a message inside a bottle, impact the message, that's a breakfast. Well, I've been sipping, I've been swerving. I put verses up in herbs. I'm so good it make me nervous. They don't like it, but they lurking. All the chicks in my churches, I can teach them how to hold a stake. It ain't a circus. She talk on so much she talk on so much she heard us. We don't hide behind no curtains. Let them all watch it on purpose. Just enjoy the service. I don't fuck with clowns, and I ain't never liked the circus. Can't deter me, I'm determined. I fell down, but I kept working. Put that on Donnie McClurkin. I got that because I deserve it. I was flipping burgers. My auntie came in Perkins. I'm on my ass in Perkins. I ain't barely scratched the surface. I ain't barely. Hold on.
I feel kind of fly standing next to you. Baby girl, how do I begin my right? Would you tell the truth? Stay with me and love me through the night. In the sea, how do I begin my right? Baby, covered in cotton, but I still smell good.
Yeah. Let's bring them home right here. Let's bring it home. Black Arts District, thank you. From left to right. Tyler Moonlight on keys. Mo Drip on bass. Dante Wright on the drums. Big Dummy, a.k.a. there's the suited guitarist right here. My name is Mike Evenn. This next song is called Kiwi. I see finesse one time. Got him on full court press one time. Fly on the jet one time. Put a little smoke in your chest one time. Gotta flex one time. Do it on the grind for your ex one time. Put a set one time. Black Hawk, look, now the one you heard about. Come and meet y'all in the flesh. Never seen y'all as a threat. Kill a few songs and I'm on to the next. They be online trying to talk you to death. I don't stay long, I'm gone to the check. Grind like I'm supposed to. They think life is a sofa. There ain't no changes sitting on your ass. Go make something different for your ass. While it flip like acrobatic, this ain't clothing, this a khaki Kiwi fabric. We make magic, you know David Blaine. We stay at it, you won't stay the same. When the brand over shade of the picture, yeah, that's a fan, that's a fake ass nigga. All of that hate, you can take that with you. Go over, drink while you take that. Hey, roll up some okay, two in the zone when I'm okay. Save up the dough, I need okay. Can't let it go, cause it's okay. Rip looking like Kiwi. Rip on the like Kiwi. Rip on the like Kiwi. Girl, give me that. Girl, give me that. Roll up some okay. Two in the zone when I'm okay. Save up the dough, I need okay. Can't let it go, cause it's okay. Rip looking like Kiwi. Rip on the like Kiwi. Rip on the like Kiwi. Girl, give me that. Trust one time. Take a look back and reflect one time. Stress one time. You know we can never have sex one time. Whoa. I only got a text one time. I'm ready for the flight and the layover. You know we can stay friends if we stay sober. A couple shots in and it's game over. What? Let me jump taste it again. I never waste till we waste it again. Never need waste this man. The game what you take it. Damn. I know what you tell the friends. Got something on your chest, don't hold it in. If you want to get blessed, we can go again. We can go again. Kiwi, two in the zone when I'm on Kiwi. Can't let it go cause you so Kiwi. Can't let it go cause you so Kiwi. Just looking like Kiwi. Just when I'm like Kiwi. Just when I'm like Kiwi. Girl, give me that. Girl, give me that. Roll up some more Kiwi. Two in the zone when I'm on Kiwi. Save up the dough on him on Kiwi. Can't let it go cause you so Kiwi. Just looking like Kiwi. Just when I'm like Kiwi. Just when I'm like Kiwi. Girl, give me that. Girl, give me that. Thank you. This last song is going to be Robots. Let's do it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, mic moving. Yeah, yeah. Don't let the robots take you from me. I need you around. Yeah, yeah. We get high till the sun come up. No, I won't make a sound. No, 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 no. There's so much out there in the world today. There's only one way for us to get away. When everything is so noisy, when we turn it. Look, I say my granddaddy used to go on road trips, Carolina no chips, booty in the blowfish. Pull out a road map, he say Michael hold this, navigate the whole trip. Man, I gotta focus. I was too young to know how beautiful it was. Cornfields and barbecue, me and country cuz. Arcades and south at the border. Granny making okra. With the plastic on the shoulder. Straight in FaceTime for spinning real time. I gotta have to bring McDonald's when it's meal time. Remember GoldenEye, huh? Taking turns, 7 of us on a couple couches. Last night we shot the zombies sitting in our houses. Whoa, I used to need an envelope. I used to have pages full of songs I wrote. But For the auto-tune correcting all the notes. When I have pictures on the wall and not just on my phone. Don't let the robots take it from me. Yeah. I need you around. Oh yeah. You can hide till the sun comes up. I won't make a sound. No, 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 no. There's so much out there in the world today. It's only one way for us to get away. When everything is so noisy. Can we turn it? Hey, hey, can we turn it? Look, look, you always pushing my buttons. I guess it's better it's mine. I see the depth of remorse. You see a better design. I used to think I want perfect. Now I'm perfectly fine. I always feel disconnected. I'm always somewhere online. Am I a slave to a slave? Manufactured and sold. Can only do what it's told. Why don't I have control? When it's complicated, the future is automated. Is this what we call the Matrix? Don't think he automated. I don't have to brag with us. The Amazon woke. As Alexis, the Scorpio and Capricorn. Oh, why you at us at a time before my pasta in the kitchen? I wonder while I'm talking if somebody else is listening. Who are we to the system? We used to leave our jobs alone. It used to be the dance we did to all the songs. Before I saw a car parking on its own. Now every time I'm talking to you, you just on the phone. Don't let the robots take it from me, yeah. I need you around, I need you around. We get hot till the sun come up, no, I won't make a no sound, no sound, no sound. So much out in the world today. There's only one way for us to get away. When everything is so noisy, can we turn it? Hey, 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 hey. Granddaddy used to go on road trips, used to go on road trips, used to go on road trips. I say my granddaddy used to go on road trips, used to go on. Creative FaceTime was spinning real time. Creative FaceTime was spinning real time. I say my granddaddy used to go on road trips, used to go on, used to go on, used to go on. Right there. Black Artists, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you, Comcast. I hope y'all ready for it, man. The deal. Thanks for going to Black Asset and go awesome. Peace and love, y'all.
Yep. Thank y'all so much for that amazing performance. I don't know about y'all, but I am absolutely feeling everything that just went down. Shout out to Mike Evenn and Black Assets for just, again, everything y'all do in the city, for always being great and showing Black excellence in all that you do. I'm super excited because now it's time for us to get into our keynote conversation with none other than Amanda Seales. For those of you who are just joining us, this is the Black Artist Fair, and I am Lady Breon, and I will be moderating this conversation with Amanda Seales. So before we cue her up, I do want to start with a grounding statement that we have been doing before everything we've been presenting at the Black Artist Fair. So let me take a second and read that for you all. Again, welcome to the Black Artist Fair presented by Comcast and the Black Arts District. The Black Artist Fair is designed to connect Black creatives from the greater Baltimore area to resources and services to further enhance their crafts and creative practices. We recognize that often Black creatives have less access and opportunities to develop their careers. So this space has been curated to provide quality opportunities for growth, to challenge the ways racism and white supremacy has impacted Baltimore's creative community, and to develop strategies to make Baltimore a more culturally equitable space. We invite you to network, to question, to challenge, to listen for understanding, and most importantly, to build with us. So thank you and welcome again to A Conversation with Amanda Seales. All right, so for those of you who may not know who the amazing Amanda Seales is, I'm going to take a second and read a bit of her bio. Amanda Seales is a comedian, actress, writer, producer, and more. So she doesn't just make you laugh, she makes change. She performs stand-up comedy across the globe and tours colleges doing comedic lectures. Amanda has a master's in African American Studies from Columbia University. She is a series regular as Tiffany on HBO's Insecure, guest starred on Blackish, released her debut stand-up special, I Be Knowin', on HBO January 2019, and is the creator and host of the hit live music comedy game show Smart, Funny, and Black, and the host of NBC's new comedy competition series, Bring the Funny. The list goes on, y'all, but please help me welcome Amanda Seales from wherever you are. I hope that you are clapping and snapping and sending up some love because we're going to get this thing started. Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I see you got the dogs in the background.
He's doing the most, and he wants to play with this toy, and I'm like, we can't do that right now. That's too loud. You got to go.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, just remaining creative in a landscape that tries to shut us up. So that's really the goal.
That is real. I feel like so many people feel that way right now. Like how can we continue to be creative during this time? How can we continue to produce art and like be our most creative selves in a time that feels so like restrictive and just feels, I don't know, void of creativity. So I feel that.
You know what it is? To me, it's not even that it's like void of creativity. It's just that it's your energy gets sucked into other places, you know, because it becomes about fighting, it becomes about defending, it becomes about you know, identifying like factors that are trying to steal your joy. And so, you know, I'm an artist that works from a place of joy. So when I feel like I'm just being continuously inundated with negativity, like that doesn't necessarily inspire me to create. But then you know what they say? They say that the best art comes from the worst times. So we still got to proceed.
That is a fact. All right. So I have some questions for you. So the first question that I have is, what would you say are 3 of the most meaningful moments of your career?
Well, of my career, I would say, and not in this order, but I'm going to say them as I remember. So I was invited to a dinner, and it was Katy Perry having this dinner where she invited a bunch of people to come talk about politics, etc. And this was in the wake of like Donald Trump had been elected and her family had a disagreement on that. And so she was trying to have this dinner to show that like, this is how you still keep your family together, even though you have disparate points of view. And so there was a number of people invited to this dinner, and among them were me and Caitlyn Jenner. And at this dinner, the conversation on Trump turned to folks trying to, you know, have the point of view of like, well, you know, it's, you know, he's not that bad, and bullshit. And then Van Jones, who was the moderator, turned to me and was like, Amanda, what do you think? And I said, well, you know, I feel like he's just attempting to be a modern day Hitler. And they're like, oh my God, how can you say that? And this was in 2017. And I was like, because he's doing all the things that Hitler was doing. Like, Hitler didn't come out swinging gas chambers. Like, it began with a steady, you know, brainwashing and a consistency of encouraging violence amongst people who thought, you know, the same as him, to enact it against people who were different. So, like, this is how this happens. So Caitlyn Jenner was like, well, I don't want to speak anymore. I don't want to speak anymore because, you know, this is just, I am a citizen of America. And this conversation ended up going viral because at that point, I was just like, you know, we haven't lived in the same America. And it's very easy for you to say that, you know, America has supported you and loved you, and you're not a Black woman, and you simply haven't had the same understanding of this country. They haven't been in your life in the same way. They haven't politicized your existence in the same way. And by the way, you know, they only got behind transgender folks at like 2:00 today. So why are you acting brand new? And so this clip, this was a like 2-hour long dinner that got this, somebody ripped like 2 minutes of this clip of this dinner and put it on Twitter. And the thing about it, it hadn't, the dinner, you can't find the full video anywhere, but that 2-minute clip went viral. And it went viral because I was not being polite for the sake of the environment. And I really do believe that, like, being polite when it's in the way of purpose is not progress. And my purpose at that dinner was to disrupt like performative bullshit. And so that really shifted my career because it went from overnight, it went from like Amanda is somebody who'll be doing TV to like, oh, Amanda's a real one. And it went to that among my peers and among my audience. And to the point where I was in the mall with my mom and I had been telling her, I was like, things are changing. Like overnight, I went from 44,000 followers on Instagram to like 150,000, like overnight. That's excessive. And my mom was just like, whatever. And then we went to the mall and a gay brother and a straight brother were both like, Amanda Seales. And she was like, okay, well, maybe something is happening. I'm like, thank you. Like, this is weird. But it was so poignant for my career because I don't like Hollywood is so surface and basic to me. And to only be in this town for the purpose of hype and to just create, you know, art that makes money that's not my intention and that's not my existence. And so it very quickly let people know that this is not somebody who's here for play. And that means a lot to me because I am not. The second thing that was probably the most poignant in my career, I mean, as a stand-up, doing a special is like a very, very big deal. Yeah. But it's really that Smart, Funny, and Black took hold. That to me is actually more, because even though Smart, Funny, and Black is not like a TV show, it's a live show that we do, and it's also a virtual show that we do. It is 100% mine, and it is 100% rooted in the celebration of Black culture, Black history, and the Black experience. And in that, I am also able to express all of my talents as a singer, as a performer, I mean, as a host, as a comedian, as somebody with a master's in African American studies, like as a lover of community. And so being able to simultaneously like have something that is 100% wholly about community, that as well as 100% serves me as a creative, like finding that has been like a key component to my sanity. and for a number of reasons. And you know, when you're a creative and you work in a commercial space, like finding something that allows you to do all those things, as well as that allows you to live off of it, is like huge for your career. And I would say the last thing was when I was kicked out of the Black Emmys party in 2019 by another Black woman. And that just really let me know that like this Black Hollywood shit is fake and phony in a way that I had not considered. And I knew at that point that I need to change how I'm navigating this space. And I know some people may be like, oh, that's messy, but it's like, no, because you need to very clearly understand the space you're in order to know how to be effective in that space. And when you don't know that, you end up becoming more vulnerable than you are helpful. And it is a hard truth sometimes that you have to face. And that was a very hard truth that I had to face and understand. But it has made me so much stronger in the long run. And it forced me to then create my own network of folks that support my vision and that also are about, you know, creating leadership and, you know, challenging colorism and moving against, you know, the political bullshit of just trying to stay quiet to keep people happy. Right. And so all those things were very integral to my career, and we just getting started.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to the support system, to the ring of friends and supporters that you got to build.
The tribe.
The tribe. I hear that. Okay, so I want to talk about your younger self, 13-year-old Amanda or so. Like when you were younger, did you see yourself being the person you are today? Like, was this your dream? Did you walk into this path like, I already know I'm about to be great? Or like,
yes.
Like what was, yes, it was like absolute period.
Since I was 11, I distinctly remember being 11 and writing on my calendar. I had like a conscious thought. You need to write down everything that you do every day because you're going to be important and people are going to want to know what you did to get here. I distinctly remember at 11 having that conscious thought. And then
11-year-old Amanda?
11-year-old Amanda was a piece of work, honey. So I have like a good 4 years of calendars where I every single day documented like what I did, whether it was something as banal as like went to the movies or I wrote a play today. You know? So yeah, and you know, I had people around me that supported that. And then of course I had like a teacher who told my mom that, you know, I needed to pursue more realistic goals because I said I wanted to be the president, you know, like, so I had my own little Malcolm X moment there too. But ultimately I had people around me that never questioned my quest for excellence. And I was also involved in organizations of Blackness that supported that. And I got to see and be amongst other Black children who were also being encouraged in their greatness. Black children of all shades and sizes and gender. You know, it wasn't just like I wasn't in like a Jack and Jill type situation. Like it was like everybody that was there because we were to be encouraged in our greatness, whatever that may be, right? Whether that's the arts or science or athletics, etc. And, you know, 13-year-old Amanda as an 8th grader was, at that point, I had done TV. You know, I was on My Brother and Me on Nickelodeon and I was on Cop and a Half. And so I had been in a professional space. So I had to mature early too, just in terms of knowing how to carry myself because my mother was working. So I was dropped off at work, like how kids be dropped off at camp.
Well, maybe I should have went back earlier in life. Like, first of all, I've been here. You ain't go back early enough. No,
I don't mean to say it like that. But as you ask that question, I'm reflecting on it, and I'm like, damn, like you really had to like get it together early because also like I can't have my mom come to set and then they're like, Amanda been acting up. Like that can't either. Because I got the mother who would be like, oh, so we're just not doing TV anymore.
I hear that. I hear
that's how that's gonna go, you know.
I love it. Well, listen, y'all, Amanda Ben. So let's keep this thing going. No, but okay. So another question that I have is some people, they find themselves becoming a fan of yours by way of your entertainment, right? But then your comedy, acting, what have you, hosting. But then there are other people who are attracted more to your social critiques, right? Like, so how do you balance being an artist with being an activist or an advocate, right? Like, how do you balance the two?
They're one and the same. For me, they're one and the same. Like my art and activism are completely threaded together. They are parts of the same DNA strand. And, you know, it has, for all intents and purposes, I think it's always been that way because I grew up listening to Bob Marley. You know, I grew up having a consciousness about how art is activism. And my mother's from Grenada. Grenada is a very, we're a small island with big dreams. So, you know, it's a very like revolutionary culture. And, you know, there is always kind of a thought process attached. And like when you grow up in a house of Calypso, like Calypso, you know, is also like a storytelling music that oftentimes is being used to give revolutionary messages. So those types of things kind of like, you know, were immersed into my space early on. And it's just carried me through. And even in my teaching, like in my education, that was a very big cornerstone of like a lot of the education that I received. And then even when I went to SUNY Purchase for undergrad, and I had a professor, Donna Iene Davis, who was just the best. And, you know, I took a class, Black Popular Culture, and you're like, well, what the hell, what this class gonna be? And she, you know, politicized and, you know, really just contextualized for us the fact that like Black pop culture is not it's not a gimme like other forms of American pop culture. Like when we create, there's always more to it than simply
come on, professor.
Yeah, listen. And that has become like, that's the bottom line to my work. You know, like, I mean, when Black people create, whether it's art, media, music, entertainment, etc., there's always more to it. And sometimes that's to our chagrin, right? Like sometimes you're just like, damn, can I just make some shit? And it's like, we ain't there yet. I used to hate when I be in class and someone's like, I'm not a Black artist, I'm just an artist. And I'm like, you can call it what you want, but they gonna call you what they want.
That part.
So you might as well know what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's that. I'm at a point career-wise where, you know, if it doesn't do that, then I'm not interested. You know, people send me, like my agent send me auditions for stuff and I'm just like, I don't care about this, you know? I'll get audition. Like there's been quite a few auditions lately for like cop roles and, you know, and I'm like, I'm not playing a cop. I'm not.
You're not out here about to be representing the badge. No, it's not it. Okay. All right.
Only blue lives that matter to me are my line Illustrious League. Okay. And the first drop is all themed blue because of Serenity. But otherwise, like that's not it. So I just, yeah, I mean, and in my next iteration of my career, like I'm just very ardently about producing and getting my own show where I'm able to do that, you know, in a very direct and responsible way. And doing that through other means. Go ahead.
I feel like I already know the answer to this based on everything you just said, but I want to ask it anyway, because I know that we have folks who are listening that, you know, may not, because I think I'm aligned more to what you just said. Whereas I'm a spoken word poet, right? And I'm also, you know, an activist in Baltimore. Also run this organization, the Black Arts District. But everything I do, I feel like they're all merged, right? It's all coming from the same starting place, right? Like all those things are threaded together. But I don't think that is true for a lot of people. Like, and so I'm curious: was there any part in your career or any time where you felt like you had to change anything about yourself to make it? Was there any?
What do you think the answer is?
So I think, based on what you said, the answer is no, but I'm just curious.
Well, yes and no, because did I ever feel like I had to? Yes. Did I ever do it? No.
Okay. What made you feel like you had to?
Well, first, you know, anybody who's doing art and commerce, you're gonna have pressure to do that because we live in a capitalist country that's rooted in racism. So ultimately, if you are coming from a space of authentic Blackness and trying to make money in that space, like it's not going to just be a carpet laid out to you like, here, come over, we got money for you to be yourself. Like, because that just doesn't advance the capitalist concept of white supremacy, right? So, you know, when you don't have necessarily the right people around you or the right grounding, folks will absolutely suggest, well, maybe if you go over here and you do more of this, then you will have more access to this, right? And so, like, I was absolutely led in a direction to, be more palatable to the eye, like, oh, straighten your hair, and you need to be in heels, and like basically like you need to be an Instagram model. Like that was, early on in my career, that was said to me as like what I needed to be. That's how I needed to present myself, right? Which would have been inauthentic. And that's like one time where like I had to just be like, no. And then I just went like a hard left and just became a B-girl and wore Kangol like every day for 2 years. So it's like hard left. Then it was like, you need to be more palatable to the white audience. So maybe you should just talk about like less, less like controversial topics, and really just kind of toe the line and speak more about like pop culture and just, stay in this like celebrity space and get the whites to like you. And I mean, it's not something that I couldn't do, but it felt so restraining and it just felt, again, inauthentic. And I'm just somebody who just, whether you like me or not, like you just can't argue that I'm myself all the gosh darn time. Like it's just what it is. Yeah. So, and also it's very freeing to be able to do that, because I believe that once you put that mask on, you got to keep it on, and it just becomes, I don't know, anybody here who wears makeup, that like when you keep that makeup on longer than a day and your face is like, oh my God, can I breathe? Right. So imagine keeping a mask on your spirit just consistently, like you are suffocating. And that's why we see
poetry. Yes. Sorry.
Oh, I was a spoken word poet. I was on Def Poetry for 2 seasons.
Yes.
Don't make me come here and spit a poem.
Listen, let me pour.
But I mean, my mom is still on me about republishing my poetry book. She's like, you need to re-release it. Oh my God, Jordy, stop. Speaking of my book is actually out in paperback. It just came out in paperback last week. All doses. So, and there are poems in here, actually. There are poems in small. But I think that there's really just a lot of pressure to just do what you got to do to make money. And that's real. Like that's where we are. That's our society. And that's why it's so important to have organizations like yours. That's why it's so important, those folks who are watching, to support the artists that are performing in an authentic space, because ultimately all we got is us. And so like, for me, it's like, so the vast majority of the advancements I've made in my career have come from the grassroots support of the people. Like I didn't get an HBO special because I was anointed, because a manager came to no, I got an HBO special because a brother was in a meeting with them, Jesse Collins, and was like, they were talking to him about a bunch of other white comedians, like, and he was like, y'all don't know about Amanda Seales? Like she's on your network on Insecure. And they were like, no, we don't know about Amanda Seales. And then they came to a show that I did in New York at Caroline's. And that show was sold out. And it was a packed room of sisters. And, the exec was like, we've never seen a standing ovation in the middle of a show. And I'm like, that's Black people. We're like, yes, bitch, yes. And, the dog heard that. He's like, what's going on? But what I'm saying about the way that those things correlate is because what ultimately was the kicker was that HBO couldn't deny that my audience shows up. And my audience is Black folks that want to see other Black folks empowered, Black folks that want to see community thrive, and that ultimately believe that truth is really what matters more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So really quickly, for those of you who are listening, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, right? If y'all have questions, this is the time. Go ahead and start queuing up your questions. We're going to get to Q&A soon. But in the meantime, while I'm letting y'all get y'all questions together, I have another question for you. I'm curious, again, we're talking about the multifaceted artistry and artist that is Amanda Seales, right? You have done everything from DJing to poetry to comedy, producing your own things, hosting, etc. Do you choose to put a focus on any particular thing, right? Like which ones are you interested in being known for the most, or do you put the most emphasis on? Because it's so much to your sort of franchise, if you will.
It's so much. I mean, ultimately, I want to make people laugh and learn. So, like, the beauty of being a comedian is that you can do that through so many different mediums. You know, whether it's a scripted television show or an unscripted, or whether it's writing, whether it's film, or whether it's giving platforms to other folks that make people laugh and learn, right? So that is my primary focus, using humor to inspire. And that's like, to inspire intellect. I mean, because really, I feel like education is the cornerstone for our elevation. I believe that unequivocally, that is the bottom line. And which is why there were so many, and continue to be so many, efforts made to keep us uninformed. Yeah. And so, you know, being able to inspire folks to want to learn and to want to be informed and to hold each other accountable in that space through humor, like that's the most important thing. But then in terms of like different, like over the course of my career, I've had different focus. Don't look at my fingers are ghetto right now. So it's where we're at. So over the course of my career, though, like there's just been times I've just been more interested in certain things. You know, there's just a time where DJing was making the bread and making me happy. So I was just DJing all the time, you know? Like as of right now, my focus is writing. And I unequivocally believe that the next phase of my career and of my impact is going to come from my pen. So that's where I'm having to like really just focus. And that doesn't mean that these other streams of income and these other spaces of expression that I've created have to stop, but it definitely does require some more time management and delegating, which is difficult.
So it ebbs and flows. It changes. It depends on the time. Depends on how you're feeling. What makes you
got to give yourself allowance to do that, you know. And I think a lot of multi-hyphenates, like that's what we have to do. We have to give ourselves the space to do that. And a lot of people feel like you should only do one thing. You should only focus on one thing at a time. And it's like, you know, some people, that's just not the way we thrive.
Yeah. Heard. Okay. All right. So another question that I have before we get to some audience questions is, so in this, you know, iteration of the Black Lives Matter movement and moment, many people believe that artists and entertainers have a responsibility to give back or to use their platform to support the social justice agendas that exist, right? Would you agree with this, or what is your response to that?
Anybody who is about elevation has a responsibility to be about that at all times. So if that's what you about, like, you shouldn't even need somebody to inform you like that you need to do that. Like, if that's what you're about, then that's what you're about. That should just be an organic application to your existence. So, you know, for me, it's like, I live that life. So that's not going to stop on my platform. You know, and I feel like there are people who feel like, oh, well, this is for this and this is for that. You know, when you look at the basketball players who were like, fuck out of here. Like, nah, like we niggas on this court and off this court. So we got to do this. Like, that's the reality. This dichotomy that people like to create of like who I am in my career and who I am. I'm just like, you know, that's not how I see things. And I will say that people have different versions of that. Like for me, I'm just a very vocal person. I'm a very outspoken person. And so that's how I represent that. You know, for others, they may not be an outspoken person, but they use the work that they're doing to push that, you know, and to be a space for that. You know, they use their money to empower other folks, you know, to be able to do that, etc. So there's a number of ways. But at the end of the day, if you about this life, it should be present in every part of your life. Like picture me being okay. Amir Baraka, but when he was Leroy Jones, he was married to a white woman.
Facts.
And then he was like, the movement's happening. I can't even stay with you, Ma. Like I gotta go in another direction. Now, I'm not saying that he couldn't be an effective leader in the Black arts movement with a white wife, but I don't know what type of white wife she was, right? Because she could have been out, because listen, there were white folks in the Panthers now. So like, it's not to say that there can't be woke whites, but he felt in that moment that would have not been a genuine, expression, a genuine part of his expression as someone who's a leader in this movement. And so like, it's all your life. If you're really about this, it's going to show up in all your life and in different levels. But ultimately, when it comes to your work as an artist, our work is personal. So how is it not going to show up?
Right. But I guess, so I hear all of that and I understand all of that and I agree. And I think it's interesting that you said, like, if you're about that life, then it extends to your platform as well. Right. But I think, just to follow up with that, I feel like some people have an expectation that because artists or entertainers, they have a lot of money or they have prestige, like people expect them to go above and beyond and not just, say that they care about it or retweet something, but they're expecting them to like put money behind it or expecting them to, use more than just their platform, but their power and their influence to like make change. And this may, take, Kaepernick as an example, this may jeopardize your career. This may put, parts of your livelihood in jeopardy or, so I'm just curious, like beyond just, having it extend to your platform, like doing the work of really like wielding your power and influence and even your money to the cause. I'm curious about that because that's a little more than just making it known that you care about it.
So you're asking, well, I think there's a difference between above and beyond and just the fact that you're at another level. So you should be, if you have more, you should do more.
Got you. Okay.
I believe that. Right. And I hold myself to that standard on a regular basis. And sometimes I feel like I'm falling short and I have to like, check myself and say, wait, how can you be more involved? How can you use your platforms in a more responsible way? For instance, like we have Smart Funny and Black's, we have an Instagram, Smart Funny and Black's Instagram page. Mm-hmm. And we use it for games. We use it for information sharing. We use it for bigging up folks in the Black community. But I was like, how can we utilize our audience in a more effective way? And so what I decided was let's start using our audience to fund Black teachers and Black classrooms on Donors Choose. And that may seem very small, but for us, it was like, this is just another way that we are, as an audience, utilizing our audience to create impact in a way that inspires social change. And that, teaching the children is the bottom line, right? You got to teach the babies. Right. So I guess what I'm saying though, is that yes, there are ways in which you can help that may not be as jeopardizing, but sometimes it is, going to be a possible jeopardizing of your career. And I think when you take those steps, you got to know what it is. When Kaepernick kneeled and, all of that, it was like, you had to know that these people were going to flip. And I will tell you 100% that like, I made a decision with myself a long time ago that like, I know that the way I move might put me in a position where I don't get to get shows made, which is why I've spent so much time honing my DIY capabilities, because I don't want to ever have to depend on these folks.
Yeah.
And that's why I spent so much time also like staying true to myself and my audience, because as long as the people got you, you gonna be all right.
Yes. I love it. We got you. All right. So I want to, speaking of the people, I want to get a few questions in. So let's queue up our first question from social media. All right. So Terrell says, what has been your experience with the poetry/creative writing world? Have publishers and poetry circles responded positively or negatively to your spoken word style?
When I was a spoken word poet, it was early in the game of spoken word like as a real like commercial space, right? Like, so this is like right when Def Poetry Jam hit. So this is like 2001. I think at first it was more so just like other poets that were kind of other female poets, other women female. Why did I say female? Other women poets that were kind of funny style. I think, if I'm being honest, because I was young, I was like really young and in college, and I think that that's something that, you know, as Black women, we really have a lot to work on in terms of sisterhood and retaining sisterhood in the face of our insecurities, in the face of, you know, men, and, you know, just really making it a bottom line. And doing so has been so enriching for me, like, you know, really like making that like a bottom line. And that was something that was kind of like, I wasn't really being accepted by the sisters when I first came into the spoken word space. And that really like hurt my fucking feelings. But over time that changed. And I think some of it may have been just like, you know, a protectiveness of the space and just kind of feeling like, you know, don't think you just gonna come in here, you know, and be young and cute and like you just gonna take over. Like you got to actually be an artist about it. And then it was like, oh, you really are an artist. Okay, well then come to the table. As far as like the publishing, you know, I self-published my poetry book when I put out a poetry book, but this book, Smart, Funny, and Small Doses, you know, I said from jump when I pitched it that it's going to be a book that has a number of different elements to it. Because what it is it's a collection of comedic, you know, thoughts and advice and insights on life. And it's broken up into different sections: womanhood, career, racism, people are weird, glowing up, and relationships. And I was like, you know, I want to be able to speak about these things through a number of different writing devices. So essay, story, lists, poems. And I spoke to 6 publishers and only one of them got it. Only one of them got it. The other 5 were like, well, it just, you know, we would like to see essays because that's all they were used to. And I was just like, I don't want to just do that. And so, you know, I even included like, how do I show this? Like drawings, like so you can see
right.
There's doodles in there because I'm a visual artist, and you know, I wanted to be able to like include photos and just make a book that was just visually pleasing to the eye because I love color and artistry. I mean, my mother's from the Caribbean. Like our houses are yellow and pink and purple. And so only one editor got it. But you know what? That's all you need.
That's all you need. All right. Let's do it. Let's get into our next question. Thank you so much for that first one. From Suzetta. You're such a real and dope person speaking the truth, but folks come, I had to, because it was in all caps, I had to give a little pizzazz. Okay. Speaking the truth, but folks come at you left and right. How do you mentally and emotionally protect yourself from the attacks you receive from just speaking the truth?
Well, it took me having like a nervous breakdown and like having suicidal thoughts to realize that I really needed to put a lot more attention into emotionally and mentally protecting myself. Because I think there's oftentimes this washed over thought process of just like, just get thicker skin. Or, you know, if you're like even celebrity adjacent, people are like, well, what do you expect? You know, and so there isn't really this understanding that like at the end of the day, you're a human. And for me, I'm an empath. So I just feel everything 10 times more than everybody else. And so I had to really learn practices. So one, you know, just doing affirmations and really like keeping my mind in a high vibrational space. 2, creating boundaries and knowing that like not everybody needs to have access, and I don't need to explain myself to anybody unless I choose to, but ultimately it's not my responsibility to. You know, like the other day, someone was like, you're a garbage colorist. And I was like, well, that's not true. And, you know, be blocked and blessed. And someone was like, well, you know, you didn't even explain why you're not a colorist. And it's like, because I don't have to. I am not a colorist, and my actions demonstrate that on a regular basis. And so I don't need to explain to this one individual who has just made this like bold assertion to me. I don't owe them an explanation. And a lot of us, particularly with this social media thing, you start to feel like you owe everybody an explanation simply because everybody has an opinion about you. And let me just tell you, babies, you don't.
Yeah.
You do not.
Yeah.
And then also, just like making sure that I take time for myself, making sure that I unplug from certain spaces, making sure that I do, go to therapy and then take breaks from therapy, and making sure, again, like we said, like having a circle around you, a tribe that supports you, and that when you do have those self-doubts and when you do feel attacked, that lift you up.
Yeah. Hashtag be blocked and blessed. That is a quotable for today. And thank you for that vulnerability and that true statement. Because I feel like, yeah, I ain't nowhere near celebrity status, but I can tell you that self-care is important because people will attack you from all different angles and you got to protect yourself and your boundaries. So shout out to that. I really appreciate you sharing that. Let's
Can I say one more thing too, though?
Of course.
You never know why people are coming at you.
True.
So when you take them on, you're coming from your perspective, which may not even be valid to why they're coming at you. Sometimes people just come at you because they had a bad day. They may be coming at you because they're jealous of you. They may be coming at you because they actually love you, but they don't have the language to tell you that. So they're speaking from a negative state. There's a million reasons why people come at you. So if you're trying to go to war with all of those reasons, like, you're going to just tire yourself out and not be useful at all.
Absolutely. That's a whole word from the Church of Amanda Seals. All right. Hallelujah. Let's get into this next question. All right. Question for Amanda and Lady Breon. Oh, I got questions now. Okay. How can community institutions help our artists scale up to regional and national recognition? Or is that even the role of community arts organizations and institutions? Great question. Do you want to start us off, Amanda?
Well, I can tell you that while I was watching this, I was like, wow, this is really dope that they're giving platform to local artists. And, the pandemic of it all, the panoramic, the panini of it all has allowed us to kind of inhabit these virtual spaces in a way that we wouldn't have before. And the beauty of that is that virtual is global. And so it does allow you to extend beyond what would have just been the borders of Baltimore, right? And so, because if you just do a live show in Baltimore, the only people that are really seeing it are the people at the live show, or if you decide to stream it, which is a whole other expense.
Yes.
So I think that has been that was dope for me to witness. And so shout out and kudos to the Black Arts Fair. But I do think it is particularly part of the responsibility of community arts organizations and institutions to do so, because at the end of the day, an artist has to eat and support themselves in order to continue to create their art. And they have to do that by support of the people. So if you're a community organization, you are comprised of the people. So it only makes sense that you would put artists in front of them.
Yeah. I mean, I echo everything that was already said. And I feel like with institutions, it's incumbent upon us to use our connection and our power and our influence to be able to amplify artists in our city and in our constituency. And so for the Black Arts District, it's like we recognize that there are some connections that we have that individual artists will not be able to foster or create. And we use that to be the plug. And that's the end.
Be the plug. And I think for what it's worth, like, we show that art is valuable to our community when we do so.
Yes. Absolutely. So thank you for that question, and shout out to another amazing arts institution right here in Baltimore, Motor House. Thank you for that question. All right. So we are getting close to our time. And so I do want to make sure I get this question out. And then we have a few more seconds. I'll take that last question that we had.
I'll answer it fast.
Okay. So let's do that first, and then I'll get to my last question. How do you create balance between rest and creativity?
I go with the flow. If I feel like I need to rest, I rest. When I want to be creative, I create, and I make a point of allowing myself the freedom to do both.
Cool. Yep. I love it. I love it. Take naps. Okay. Take naps, Chelsea. All right. So my last question, we're here at the Black Artist Fair, and there are a number of creative folks who are watching. And so can you give us just 2 or 3 pointers, some advice for emerging artists? What do you want to leave for the emerging artists in Baltimore and the world, whoever's listening?
Well, one, support each other. There really is no value in competition that cancels each other out. You know, like there's always going to be competition because that's just the human nature, but there can be community in that. And I think it's incredibly important that we make sure that we ground ourselves in that. Two, I think a lot of times we look to see how we can get to where we're going by like who's already there, versus by partnering up by who's going there. And I know that my ability to continue to elevate has been by working together with folks who have similar mindsets as me in terms of my prolificness, in terms of our messaging, etc. And it's never been about like, okay, this person is popping, so let me try and get them to notice me, as much as it's been like, nah, all of us think the same. Let's pool our energy together, support each other, create with each other, advise each other, and let's use that to elevate. And that has been incredibly helpful because also that's how you get favors. You know, that's how you have a barter system, which allows you to create without necessarily spending money. And it's also how you continue to disseminate your work beyond just your individual self. So you broaden your network. And the last thing I would say is, you know, give yourself the grace of process. And what I mean by that is, you know, I think sometimes, particularly in this day and age, we just measure value on like how many people saw something or, you know, who liked it. And process and the value of something is so much more intricate than that. Sometimes it's just, you know, you getting the opportunity to practice, you know, you getting the opportunity to fail and not do it in front of a big ass audience and be able to collect yourself to then, you know, hone and refine so that when you enter another space, it's more so what you wanted to put out there. You know, process also is about the fact that your taste is going to change. You know, like as you increase your skill set, your taste will change. So stuff that you may have thought was like super ill, you know, you're like, oh my God, that was trash. Like that happened to me during the pandemic. Like I had to do a video for this engagement that I had signed on to do. And like, I'm used to just, you know, doing stuff in my house or whatever. It's going to be fine. It's cool. It's fine. So I set everything up. I mean, I just thought it was cute, Brianna. I thought it was so cute. And then I shot it and I was editing it and I was like, this is really bad. But I know that it's because I've now elevated into a space where like, I do want camera angles, honey, you know, and I do want proper lighting and I do want a set, and just doing this shit in my crib isn't not going to cut it every time. And I know that that's like a part of the growth. And so I just had to sit in that and be very uncomfortable in that, but also allow myself the space to know that like, well, that means you're elevating. So good for you.
Shout out to elevation. Shout out to the glow up, the building and development. Absolutely. All right. So we are at time, and I want to just say thank you, Amanda Seals, for gracing us with your presence and giving us all of these gems, tools, tricks, all the things that I feel like we can take it, put it in our back pocket as we move and we progress and we grow. So thank you so much from the Black Arts District for joining us for the Black Artist Fair, powered by Comcast. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, thank you, Black Arts District and the Black Artist Fair, for having me and for the work that you're doing, and for also just having dope questions, because that's not always the case. And I hope that, you know, my words and wisdom after these 40 years on earth has been helpful to you guys, and continue to grow and glow up. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at Amanda Seals, and check out smartfunnyandblack.com and my new line, Illustrious League.
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you. All right, we're going to keep this thing moving. Y'all know it is not over. That was such an amazing keynote from none other than Amanda Seals. But we have a lot more in store. So please, please, please don't check out, because we got more panels. We got more workshops. We got consultations and photo shoots and all the things. So I just want to highlight just a few of those. We have a youth artist panel at 1:30. We have a panel about the contributions of queer artists at 3 p.m. and an after party hosted by the collective known as the poetry party. Y'all know we just closed out National Poetry Month, so we got to do a one time for all of the poets and creatives. But they are accepting all kinds of art because it's actually an in-person open mic. So if you are a performance artist, make sure you're at the garage tonight. It's 6 Lafayette Street over in the Station North Arts District. All right, so make sure y'all go to the garage, turn up with the poetry party. I'm gonna be there. If you're not comfortable being in person, they're also going to be streaming on their Instagram page, so follow them over at the poetry party on Instagram. I'm Lady Breon. This has been an amazing keynote, and we have more in store, so y'all stay tuned.